Hey guys, welcome to the 10th episode of the Mayank Show, and this is going to be a special podcast today because today a special guest is joining us. His name is Mohammad Azam. Yes, you must be familiar with his name and what he does. So guys, Mohammad Azam is basically a teacher by heart, and he has been making courses on Udemy. He has been making courses on LinkedIn Learning, and he is a core teacher because he teaches in a bootcamp there in US. And today Mohammad Azam will be talking to us about his experiences way beyond iOS, way beyond anything else, because he has a lot of experience in other technologies as well. So today Azam Shah would be sharing his wisdom with us, and you would be super lucky if you will listen to this podcast, because this one is going to be the 10th and the most special one. So guys, I will not take much of your time. Let's jump into the podcast, but before that, let's roll the intro. So, sir, welcome to the Mayank Show.
Thanks for having me, Mayank.
It's my pleasure, sir. So, sir, you have a name in our community. Like all of the people know about your courses, the work you do, and you also have a core in teaching, right? So, which makes me quite interesting because iOS is something which is like my favorite subject since my college. So everyone who is in this field and who talks about a lot in this field, who teaches this field, feels like familiar to me, even if I have met them for the very first time. So how was your journey, sir? How did you start off getting into the technicality of things? How did you get interested into iOS, and how things got started? Can you please walk us through all of that?
Yeah, I mean, we can go back to even 2002 if you want, when I came to United States as a student. So I came to United States from Pakistan as a student, international student. And at that time, life was very, very hard for an international student. I mean, you have to, find a way to pay for college, which is extremely expensive, maybe 2 times more expensive than what the normal citizens are paying. So I had to work, I had to commute. If you can believe it, I was commuting 6 hours daily in a bus.
6 hours overall.
6 hours a day, yes.
Okay.
And I was living with my aunt. And, it was very, very hard for me at that time. But eventually I got the job. I mean, I was able to get a job in like a month's time in a University of Houston games room. I worked over there as a programmer also, and behind the counter, all of that stuff, and even started .NET development in 2002 when .NET actually came out.
Okay.
And they were not really teaching you this stuff in the details. So I did a .NET. I was hired by University of Houston, probably around like 2005.
What was the exact role at University of Houston?
So I was studying computer science, undergraduate, and I was working at Games Room, which was obviously hourly pay that they were paying.
Okay.
And then I was also working at the library. So I was pretty much working at like 2 a.m. in the morning most of the time.
Oh my God.
And just sleep for 5-6 hours or 4 hours, and then the classes, and then work, then classes, then work. So it was a very hard time for me, at least. But I graduated, no debt, no nothing. I worked my way through college. And I think this is some of those things that sometimes when you are ignorant, you don't have knowledge, it can be a good thing. Because when I came, I didn't really know anything about, you can take loans to pay for college. I didn't know anything about that.
Okay.
So I just worked hard and pay my way through college. I didn't think about loans.
How did you plan all of this, like coming to America, studying over there and moving permanently there? So how did you plan all of this?
I think my parents' side, my family, or my parents' family, my mom's side at least, they were already settled in US, especially in Texas, in Houston and San Antonio and Austin. And my mom visited a couple of times, and she decided that the situation in our current country, Pakistan, is not good. We should move to a different country. And then first my elder brother went there, then I started moving, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who did guide you at that point of time? Your elder brother or?
At that point, I think when I was in US, it was my aunt and my uncles. They kind of guide me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
After living with them for maybe like a month or two, I
Mm-hmm.
had to move closer to the university because a 6 hour commute was really not worth it.
Right.
So I was basically living in the bus, so it was kind of hard. And so, yeah, I moved very close to the university, like a walking distance.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saved obviously a lot of time and I was able to do job like until 2 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, okay. And you also talk about the student loan problem that we face in US. So
Yes.
would you like to tell about more into that?
I think there is, I mean, when I graduated from 2002 to 2005, I was paying quite high tuition because I was international student. And yes,
Okay.
later on I got the in-state tuition, which is like half of that. But
Mm-hmm.
I think, I mean, universities are very expensive. There's no doubt about that. But
Mm-hmm.
there is still a way to pay the loan, or well, you shouldn't even take the loan in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you work hard, if you plan out your college, if you go to a college that you're going for education and not for enjoyment,
Mm-hmm.
that, oh, I want to go out of state because there are mountains and rivers, well, that's going to cost you like $100,000. So there is still a way to pay off your debt and pay off for college just by working.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have so many different streams of income, right? I mean, you have Uber, you
Right.
have Lyft, you have, Instacart and TaskRabbit and all those things. In 2002 and 2005, we didn't really have those things. So I have to work behind the counter or I have to
Right.
work in a library and all those things. So yeah, student loan is a big problem, $1.7 trillion problem, and it can be solved if you plan it right.
Is it like good for the economy, or does it make something bad impact on it as well?
It's actually pretty bad for the economy because everyone who graduates from college right now, they
Mm-hmm.
are deeply in debt. I mean, I'm talking
Right.
about 36,000, 50,000, 100,000, sometimes even $150,000 in debt. And it will take them most of their life to pay off their loan if they are even planning to pay off the loan, because most of the people, they don't really care about those things. They don't really want to pay off their loans. So you have to plan it right. You have to work in a degree that
Mm-hmm.
will give you ROI, return on your investment.
Right.
So if you are spending 200,000 and you became, I don't know, a teacher
Mm-hmm.
or like a high school teacher or an elementary teacher, then that's like a not a good return on investment because a teacher doesn't make that much kind of a salary.
Right.
Then we go to the computer science route. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I did 4 years of computer science, but
Mm-hmm.
to be really honest, I basically use 0% of the things that I learned in college.
Okay.
All the things that I learned was when I was not in college, when I was on a break, like summer break, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just reading books.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember that it was the last day of our exam, and then the
Mm-hmm.
summer break started, and I was sitting in the library working and reading a 1,000-page book on ASP.NET. And my boss came and she said, "I thought your exams were over."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Yeah, the exams are over, but now the real learning begins now." So
That's
it's
true.
what you do. It's what you do outside the college that actually matters in the long term.
Right.
So I think computer science degree is one of those that if you don't have a computer science degree, you can still, become a self-taught developer. You can go to a boot camp and all those
Mm-hmm.
things you can
Mm-hmm.
do and save up a lot of money as well as time.
Even that holds true in these days as well. Like if somebody is going to college and in comparison, or maybe after college, somebody is doing some self study on a particular subject, then they can make it work in the same way like we used to do. You used to do in 2002 and 2005, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in the end, your college doesn't really matter. I mean, the college matters, but it doesn't matter which college that you go to. So
You're
if
right.
you are saying that, oh, well, I want to go to this college and it's going to cost me extra $100,000,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't convert well, or it doesn't even convert. There is no correlation between your success in life
Mm-hmm.
versus the college that you went to. So you can go to a normal state school and you can still be very successful in life. And you can go to
Right.
MIT and you can still be not successful.
Hmm.
So the way or the I think the success depends on grit, meaning perseverance, passion, and you're just not giving up. You're just showing up again and again. So I think
Right.
if you can conquer that, then you can basically conquer anything in the world.
Right, sir. I mean, you said it in a flow, but this is something which is really um, important, I believe, that to understand all of these things, that if you go into this much depth of understanding things, then you can make everything work, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the I think there was a famous interview from I think from an NFL coach, which is a
Mm-hmm.
football coach,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody asked him that, "What's the quality of a great player?" And
Okay.
the coach said, "Well, you have to be passionate about game and you have to do this and that." But then he kind of pressed that, "Hey, no, what's the real quality of a good player, like a
Mm-hmm.
outstanding player?"
Mm-hmm.
And then the coach said, "It's the person who can take the boredom," which basically means that a
Okay.
person who is waking up in the morning and doing the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Right.
And that's what you have to do. You have to do it every single day,
Right.
over and over for a long periods of time. And this is true for life. This is true for your investments that you're going to make in
Mm-hmm.
your life, and whether it is you're making money investment for your 401k or retirement plan, or just in your education.
Right. Right. So moving further after getting into .NET, what really happened after that?
So I was working in a consulting firm, and one of my friends who was a very, very like a Apple fan, and he
Okay.
will buy everything Apple. He showed me that, hey, you can make apps now, and you can sell apps on the App Store.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to buy a Mac right now in front of you. And he said, you're not going to do it. And I did it. I spent like $1,000 or $1,200,
Okay.
bought the Mac right in front of him, and then created a game, ABC Pop, a kids game,
Okay.
and put it on the App Store in like 10 days without any knowledge of Objective-C or anything.
Which year are you talking about currently?
It is 2010,
Okay.
and the version iOS was 3.2.
Oh my God. Okay.
Objective-C with
Okay.
no automatic reference counting. So you have to do all of the stuff yourself.
Right.
Yeah. But since I already knew C Sharp and JavaScript and all these things, it was kind of easy for me to just jump in and do it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I used a platform called Cocos 2D, which for game building. And
Okay.
I launched the app on the App Store. It sold maybe around like $1,000 or $1,200 worth
Mm-hmm.
to get the cost of the Mac back.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, yeah, I was pretty much hooked in creating apps. I created a vegetable gardening app called
Okay.
Vegetable Tree,
Okay.
and it was featured by Apple as one of the best gardening apps available uh, at
Nice.
that time. And
Right.
later on, I started moving to different cases, like I started teaching and all those things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How did you come up with all these ideas that you're talking about? Like the very first idea could be anything, right?
Mhm.
But later on, how did you come up with the ideas like I can try this, I can try that?
I think for the vegetable tree, which was one of my popular apps, the idea was mainly due to what I like to do in my garden.
Okay.
So I plant all of these vegetables and everything. So, and I want to keep track of when I watered them and what to plant right now in this
Mm-hmm.
season, in fall or summer or winter.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted some app, so I created it for myself and I
Mm-hmm.
pushed it out on the App Store, and it was a big hit. People
Mm-hmm.
were sending me pictures of their garden. People were sending me pictures of their plans that they have, like, okay, I'm planning this and that. And it
Mm-hmm.
was quite a lot of fun. I mean, I haven't really updated the app for a long time now, but it made quite a bit of money on the App Store. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I think every year it was making like $7,000, 8,000, and
Nice.
but I mean, then I moved to some different things.
So each one of your ideas that you even try today are all related to what you exactly do, or are they more of like ideation and not reality now?
Most of the ideas they came with my own requirements. Yes. So
Okay.
vegetable gardening, I created vegetable tree. I created because I like vegetable gardening or gardening in general.
Okay.
I created ABC Pop so I can teach my kids alphabets and numbers and all those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So most of these ideas were just something that I definitely needed,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's why I created it.
Okay. Okay. And how did you used to resolve the blockers that come up while implementing something in the project. Like earlier in those days, like 2010, I don't believe that there was solution to everything on the internet, right?
Yeah, definitely trying it out and being curious that, okay, what's going to happen if I just do this? What's going to happen if I do this? And obviously, Stack Overflow and other forms related to iOS development, like iOS, I think Apple Forms and all those things, they were really helpful in those cases. And started reading books from Ray Wenderlich and Big
Okay.
Nerd Ranch. So those really help clarify some of the concepts that I had. Yeah.
Where Ray Wenderlich has been there for last 10 years.
Ray Wenderlich has been there for quite a bit, quite a long time. At least the
Okay.
website, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I didn't know about this. I thought that it just came up last for in last 6 years, I guess. So I was thinking this. Okay. Nice to know. Fact check. All right. So moving into more things that you have done, sir. So
Mhm.
you are basically a teacher, right? So how did you get into teaching? Like you were making apps in between, you were doing .NET. How did you move into this? Like how did this transition go?
Yeah, so I always had a passion for teaching, whether it is writing articles or creating videos or publishing it on YouTube. And I think it was pretty much around 2017 or 16, I don't remember, but that time I was contacted by a company called the Iron Yard.
Okay.
And the Iron Yard, it was the largest boot camp company basically in US or pretty much in the world maybe. They have
Okay.
campus like every single city that you can think of.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted an iOS instructor. So I applied. I did like the demo and everything, trial,
Mm-hmm.
and they selected me. They hired me. I taught over there for 4 cohorts or 4 semester for iOS, but then they had to kill the iOS program because not
Why?
many people were enrolling in it.
Okay.
Uh, so we had to move to web development. So we did a couple of web development program after the company actually shut down around, well, I was there for 1 year, so probably it shut down around like 2017, and I
Mm-hmm.
was hired in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And from later on, I was contacted by another company, which I am currently, which is called
Okay.
Digital Crafts, Crafts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I teach web development, full stack web development using JavaScript, Node, Postgres, MongoDB, and all
Mm-hmm.
that fun stuff.
So you have been teaching into all of these tech stacks. So backend is there, front end is already there. Like you have been into that. What do you think about having a skill set like some people say that you need to be expertise in a particular tech stack. Some people
Mhm.
say that you need to have a, a quite decent kind of knowledge in other tech stacks as well. What is your point of view on that?
I think maybe in some things you may have to have more deeper understanding, but
Hmm.
I think overall that you see, there are very few people in the world who have like a very deep understanding of something. I
Hmm.
mean, if you see
Hmm.
Tiger Woods, who is a golf player, he is very
Right.
good at golf. But
Right.
if you see Roger Federer, who is a tennis player, he's not
Hmm.
only good in tennis, he's also good in other things like soccer. He's also good in playing some other stuff like football or these kind of things. So
Hmm.
he's good in many different sports. So I think it's important that you make yourself, I think, horizontal,
Hmm.
basically means that you have not deep knowledge or extremely deep knowledge, but you have understanding of all the different things because they kind of interrelate with each other at that level. There
Okay.
will be some fields where you have to have a very deep knowledge, like if you have a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon, obviously you have to have
Right.
a very deep understanding of how things work.
Hmm.
But I think in computer science and programming in general,
Hmm.
most of those things you have to have like a intermediate kind of a understanding. That's fine, and then
Right.
you can maneuver around.
Right. Right. So, sir, when you moved into the teaching job, what was your mindset at that point of time? Because many people prefer to get a software engineer job. They want to get into that FANG thing, right? So
Mhm.
I think that that must be there in your mind as well at that point of time. So what was going around in your mind and what was really happening?
I think teaching job allowed me to explore web development. I mean, I was already doing web development with
Okay.
.NET, obviously, but it allowed me to learn many different things, and it also provided me a little bit of time to do experimentations on the side, which
Mm-hmm.
I do using iOS.
Mm-hmm.
I never really planned, at least it was not really my dream to work for any FAANG companies, because I
Okay.
think once you go to these FAANG companies, you lose your uh, individuality. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of, it becomes like, okay, everything I say or do, it has to be go through certain process and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really want to do that because I'm part of YouTube, or and I'm part of Twitter, and I want to explore those social communities.
Right.
So even though I am teaching web development, I'm also trying to be very active in iOS community by writing articles and videos and YouTube and Udemy courses and
Right.
all of those different things. So it definitely has freed up a time to check out those things or to explore those things.
Mm-hmm. So how has it been going so far? Like, what are your plans with your professional life?
I think I would like to definitely continue teaching. That's something that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've started working in 2005, worked for oil and gas company, retail companies, finance companies. But teaching is very different because it gives you just so much joy when you find out that your student has now landed a job somewhere. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
was just talking to my student this afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
and that person send me a Slack message saying that, well, thank you for teaching, and because of you, I was able to find a job at this company.
Mm-hmm.
So in very small way, you're putting kind of like a small dent in the universe and changing
Right.
someone's family tree. Because teaching what I'm doing, these people, students, they usually don't have a computer science background. They do have a degree, but
Mm-hmm.
it might be in arts, it might be in English, it might be in some other business degree or something,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to change their life. They're trying to change their family tree, and teaching
Right.
has allowed me to do that. I think I have one student who, or a couple of students, actually one or two students who are working at Apple, and
Mm-hmm.
few students working at JP Morgan Chase. So that's
Oh,
that's really
nice.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Many people talk something different about boot camps and going into boot camps, and also even college. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know about 2002 or 2005, but these days people don't really prefer to go to college, but they say that you can be self-taught and then get into the job. If you are talking about the computer science, right? So, what do you think about that?
I think computer science is one of those fields where you can learn on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very motivated, you have to be very hardworking, and you have to show perseverance because you will get stuck. So if
Right.
you are one of those people who, if you're going to get stuck and you're just going to throw your arms in the air and just going to say, okay, I give up,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe you need a little bit of guidance. You can get that guidance from a university.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to university, but make sure that you don't end up with $100,000 debt when you go and after 4 years.
Right.
Or if you like, you can go to a boot camp. But if you're obviously going to a boot camp, you have to research what the boot camp is, what the boot camp offer, and most specifically, what are the instructors, what are their background.
Right.
So if you're trying to go to a boot camp and the instructor has like 6 months of experience because that person just graduated from university, maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's not a good idea. Maybe you should look for boot camps where the instructors are have been working there for a very long time, and they have published books and articles and videos, and they are very active in the community. So
Mm-hmm.
those things really, really matter because they can also hook you up with some other meetups and you help you find jobs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, computer science is one of those fields, and I think it's also said by Google CEO, Facebook, I mean Mark Zuckerberg, as well as Tim Cook from Apple,
Mm-hmm.
that if you don't have a degree, don't worry about it. We just want to see can you do the job or not.
Right. And that's really something that boosts up people because, as you told me just now, that student loan is a problem there, and colleges are by default so, what do you say, costlier in comparison
Mhm.
to any other thing. then I think that makes sense, like learning yourself and doing things after that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We didn't address the boot camp kind of controversy around boot
Mhm.
camp. So what would you like to comment or say about that?
Yeah. So for boot camp, I mean, I know that people have different thoughts about boot camp. I mean,
Right.
some boot camps and some instructors, they might not be fit and for the
Mm-hmm.
job, or the boot camp itself might not be good.
Mm-hmm.
But that obviously does not mean that all the boot camps are bad. Uh, there was a study published, I think, a couple of weeks ago, where they researched that people who are graduating from the university and
Mm-hmm.
the people who are graduating from a 16 or 14-week boot camp,
Mm-hmm.
they are exactly the same amount of people who are able to get into FANG companies, meaning
Okay,
Google and Facebook and Apple and Microsoft and
that's
all those.
interesting.
So one direction or one path is 4 years and $100,000 in debt, and the other path is 4 months and 16,000, which you can arrange easily.
Right.
So those are the two paths. Now, obviously, they only calculated the FANG companies.
Mm-hmm.
So if you or if someone is planning to join boot camp, do the research, check out the instructors,
Mm-hmm.
check out what they're teaching, and check out the reviews, because there are so many websites where you can definitely check out the reviews also.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the most important thing is that you have to check out the instructors,
Mm-hmm.
because instructors will be the one who will be teaching you. So make sure that they have been working for a long time. They have, sometimes it's helpful to see
Mm-hmm.
that the instructor has different skill set also, web
Mm-hmm.
development and Flutter and iOS and all those things, because it definitely broadens your horizon.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, also check out their, if they're active in the community. So I think if all of those things checked out, it means that the bootcamp is great.
Okay, perfect recipe to select a boot camp.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. What are your go-to resources, sir? Like, but before asking you about go-to resources, I would like to ask you about how did you get into the digital aspect of teaching things? Like you have a lot of courses there on Udemy about.
Mhm.
I saw React, I saw about other web technologies, I saw regarding iOS as well. So how did you get into that aspect? Where did you start from? What was your mindset at that point of time? Why did you think that I should make a course and publish on it?
Yeah, I don't know how I came across Udemy. I don't remember that part. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was around 2016 when
Okay.
I tried to apply for Pluralsight and I got rejected. So I was like, okay, well, I can't really create courses for them, and so I have to look for another, source for revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I came across Udemy. I applied and I got accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And created my first course. I think it was on MapKit development, and it
Okay.
was using Swift 1.0. And as soon as I published, the
Mm-hmm.
Swift 2.0 came out, which completely broke Swift 1.0.
Right.
And I earned like 24 or $30 from that course. But
Mm-hmm.
at least I was like, okay, you know what? It's not zero, it's 24, $30. That's fine.
Right.
So let me just keep on doing, and I'm just gonna have fun, because that's not like my real job. My real job is teaching.
Right.
This is just my side job, so I can just do it on the weekends or early morning, late night, whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I started doing it, and I created a Vapor code, which is server-side Swift, and
Okay.
that I think made $200-300 a month. Then I started creating. I think I created the first augmented reality course in the world on Udemy, which was on ARKit.
Okay.
And I spent the whole summer trying to create that course. And I think that was a very, very big hit, because AR was very hot a couple of
Right.
maybe 2 years ago or something. It
Right.
was just came out. And then after that, I was kind of like hooked. I started creating more courses and more courses and more courses. And I think now it's like maybe 20 courses or something.
Okay.
And I was also contacted. LinkedIn looked at my courses,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, okay, we want to license some of the courses, but
Okay.
for other courses, yeah, so they license like blockchain and some other courses, like two, three other courses.
Okay. So you have
And
courses on LinkedIn Learning as well.
LinkedIn Learning, yeah. So
Oh,
if you
nice.
search LinkedIn Learning, Mohammad Azam, you should get a couple of courses. Some of them might be outdated, like iMessages and Kaitura
Right.
and Siri shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
But LinkedIn experience was amazing. I mean, for the courses that you have to create for LinkedIn, they actually fly you out to Carpinteria, California, which is a beach town. So it is near the ocean, near the beautiful beach.
Okay.
You live there for 3, 4 days, or depending on the time,
Okay.
and you work with a producer in their booth, and you record courses in their booth. And it's
Oh,
a really amazing place, beautiful place, and it's an amazing experience.
they give you a experience, right? So
They give
did
you amazing, yeah.
did they contact you regarding this?
They contacted me, which is kind of like a funny story that how they contacted me,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know when they did that, but it was some time back. I was at South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina,
Okay.
and I was one of the speakers at a conference called 360 iDev Mini.
Okay.
And mini conference, it's a mini conference, meaning there were like only, 25, 30 people.
Okay.
So I was presenting over there. They recorded the session
Mm-hmm.
and they put it on YouTube. I came
Mm-hmm.
home, and after a couple of weeks, I got contacted by someone from LinkedIn saying that,
Oh.
well, we saw your presentation at 360 Mini, and
Mm-hmm.
would you like to come and create a course for LinkedIn? I'm like, yes, I would
Why
like to
not?
do that. Yeah.
Right.
And they fly me out. They were awesome. I mean, LinkedIn, I can not say a nice thing about them. I mean, they are amazing, amazing company. And I mean, I'm always looking to go back and record courses for them because it's just so much fun. So after
Right.
that, I think I went back 2 or 3 times to record different courses.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so now I think obviously we're not going anywhere, or we're not doing anything like that.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just waiting so that everything kind of cools down so I can go and record some more courses.
Nice. That's really nice. How do you manage to record your courses? Like how much time do you take to record a certain course? There must be some average time limit that you set for yourself that I'll complete recording
Mhm.
in say 1 or 1.5 months. I think I
Yeah, I
underestimated the
think,
timeline, but
yeah, that's
yes.
around side, like maybe around 1.5 to 2 months to record a course.
Okay.
Um, I have to go through the whole process of basically writing the code 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this I think what people don't know about what happened behind the scene
Mm-hmm.
is I have to create the whole project, like the working project, and that is my backup copy.
I can
So if
understand
something,
that.
yeah, so if something bad happens, I can always refer to that.
Right.
And then I record really quickly
Mm-hmm.
because I have that, I don't know, maybe I've been doing it for a long time. I
Mm-hmm.
can just record the whole thing without a pause. So it can be a 17 or 20, 30-minute video without any pause, and I can just do it in one whole take.
Okay.
So that is
You're a
just some
player.
skill, yeah, just some skill that I have.
Right.
Sometimes, obviously, things go south, meaning I have to pause the recording and then cut out
Right.
some stuff. But it is very rare. It's usually one whole shot, and it's all recorded at one time.
Has it been happening from the very first course that you made?
I think it has been happening because I think what I've learned is if I try to write the script of the course, which
Mm-hmm.
I also did in LinkedIn when I
Mm-hmm.
was recording, it completely threw me off. Like I was reading the
Okay.
script and I was lost where I was. So
Mm-hmm.
I told the producer that, you know what, the script is not working. I'm just going to talk like I talk.
Right.
So that went out much more smoothly, and that's how I just record my courses. It's no script, no nothing. I just
But do you keep some pointers
I may
while
have some
recording?
code. Yeah, yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
have some backup code, and
Mm-hmm.
the backup code is the code that I'm typing it out.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my pointer. But yeah, I can just start speaking, and it's basically
Go
on the
with the
fly.
flow.
Just go with the flow.
That's really nice. Sometimes what happens when we go with the flow, we sometimes miss out some particular things to mention while recording. I mean, that happens to me. If I'm not following a particular script or maybe some pointers I've written, if I have not written, then that happens. So that does that happen to you as well?
If it ever happens, then I just create an additional video and then place it in the next video. And
Right. I
but
mean,
usually, yeah,
mhm,
it's all good.
editing is the kind of king when it comes to make up for all of that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
How did you started your YouTube journey, sir? Like now we know that. How did you start Udemy? Why did you start Udemy? How about YouTube? What
So
made you
YouTube,
interested?
yes. So I found out I was writing a lot of articles. I mean, I was just counting. I think I have like over 1,000 articles or 1,500 or 2,000 articles that I've written,
Mm-hmm.
which are on different websites. Some are paid, some are not. And I never enjoyed the process of writing articles. It was always painful process
Mm-hmm.
for me, even though I've written 2,000 articles. But
Mm-hmm.
I found video to be a little bit more natural medium for me because I can just create a video on the fly. And
Mm-hmm.
that led me to YouTube, and I started publishing maybe one, two, or three videos a week on YouTube. And now I think, I'm not sure, but I think it's like around 13,000 subscribers on YouTube, which
Yes.
is not much, but it's a start.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully by the end of the
When
year,
did you start pushing videos on YouTube?
I think it was quite a while back, but then I stopped. I think it might be 2015 or even before that,
Okay.
but I stopped for a very long time. I didn't really push anything out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but now recently, I have been pushing out a lot of videos. Maybe like 2 years ago, I've been doing more of videos on YouTube.
What is your main purpose pushing videos on YouTube? Like you already have courses on Udemy, right? So
Mhm.
does that help to delegate people to Udemy or
Sometimes, yes. So that is, I mean, I want to push it out on YouTube because I want to show other people that the way that I teach.
Mhm.
So, yes, I mean, the final destination, hopefully for them, is okay, I like that this person is teaching it this way. I need to check out the complete course. So that is definitely something that I aspire to do. So that hopefully is a route on a tunnel. The YouTube kind of acts as a little bit of a tunnel.
okay, okay, nice. So do you have any plans with that as well? Like moving on to creating more content on YouTube or building up your own brand like you already have, right?
Mhm.
So are you in the process of pushing it more so that uh, something more can really happen with that?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to get into kind of like a regular schedule for pushing videos because
Mm-hmm.
right now it's all like spread out or random.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to do maybe one video a week at least
Okay.
on YouTube. And at the end of every YouTube video, I always say, hey, if you like the video, check out the courses and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely want to continue that stuff. I also want to do some live stream and live all of those things for YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, yeah, I have another course plan. I'm still working on one course, and I have some
Okay.
few more courses planned for the future. So usually my time is spent in creating those courses.
How do you keep yourself so motivated? Like you have been creating courses for last couple of years. So
Yeah.
how do you keep yourself motivated to create more courses?
I think what I've found in life is if you want to, at least that's what I think, you have to have something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it can be a very simple thing. It can be going to Colorado to visit the mountains and the rivers.
Mm-hmm.
It can be this and it can be that. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, the things that I like are mostly like just nature, hiking, and these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of gives me motivation that okay, I need to create a course. The course hopefully is going to give me revenue. I can
Mm-hmm.
use that revenue to go for this 1 week trip into the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
or I can use that revenue to put it in my 401k plan or this plan and buy some stocks because I do also those financial stuff also.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of gave me motivation to do all of those kind of things. So that's really helped. But I think at least what I've learned, the key of happiness in life, for me at least,
Mm-hmm.
is always having something to look forward to. If
Okay.
you don't have anything to look forward to, then it's just, I mean, you're just working without any,
Purpose.
destination. Yeah, without any
Right.
purpose.
Right. It's really good that you mentioned that you are into this finance game as well, since I didn't expect or I didn't plan to ask you any questions regarding that, but I would now.
Sure, sure.
Okay, nice, bro. So, how did you go about getting into the stock exchange and buying stocks, and what is your strategy with that?
So I've been always been a very frugal, not cheap, but frugal kind of a person. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't really care that much about any technology or cars, nothing.
Okay.
You can put me in 20-year-old car and it works, I'll be more than happy with it. Give me a phone, it works, I'll be more than happy with it.
Okay.
So for financial stuff, I've always been like a saver. I save and I save and I save.
Mm-hmm.
And from investing purposes, once you save something and once you have paid off all your debts, like your cards and your mortgage and everything, if
Mm-hmm.
you have paid off, then you have still money coming in and you want to invest in something because you just cannot put it in your checking account or savings account
Right.
where they're not going to gain any interest. So what I usually do is I buy, sometimes I buy individual stocks
Okay.
and I just keep them. I just don't sell them basically forever. I mean, I
Okay.
have stocks that I have bought 15 years, 10 years ago,
Oh.
and they are just there. I mean, I didn't sell it. I mean, I don't want to sell it. And I don't know if I am going to sell it ever. Maybe I'm just going to transfer it to someone. But,
Mm-hmm.
and then, I am a fan or of Dave Ramsey, who is a podcast, who has also a podcast
Okay.
about getting out of debt and financial literacy podcast.
Okay.
So he also talks about investing like 15% of your paycheck into your retirement plan,
Mm-hmm.
and then just investing more and more into your retirement and into your. Then we can talk about traditional IRA, Roth IRA, mutual funds, all of these things. I think
Right.
maybe in the end, my purpose is to just somehow retire early,
Mm-hmm.
even though you can't really access that money once you're 60, you can access it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the more finance, I mean, I tell my students all the time that in the US, at
Mm-hmm.
least over here, we we have a lot of doctors. It's not like we don't have a lot of doctors. We have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of dentists. We are not running out of dentists or
Mm-hmm.
pharmacists,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. But we are running out of people who have financial knowledge or financial literacy because
Okay.
all of these people are in so much debt, including the doctors, which who are in hundreds and thousands of dollars in debt because they just don't know how to deal with the money or how to manage money.
Why doctors are in debt?
So what happens with doctors is that they go to school for a very long time
Mm-hmm.
and they spend a lot of money. Let's say they spend 100 or $200,000 for their degree,
Okay.
and they're waiting and waiting and waiting because their school is much longer than a normal traditional degree.
Right.
All of their friends have graduated and they have bought the cars and the houses because they graduated like 4 years early or something.
Mm-hmm.
And now when the doctor graduate, even though they graduate with $200,000 in debt,
Mm-hmm.
now it's kind of like a release. Now, okay, I'm graduated, I'm a doctor, I make 150 out of the gate. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to buy this expensive car. I'm going to buy
Mm.
this $40,000, a $50,000 Tesla, or I'm going to buy this $500,000 house because I'm a doctor. What they have to do is they actually have to live maybe a couple of more years
Right.
like they were living before, which is on nothing, and
Right.
pay off that debt. And then once they get $200,000 salary, then they can invest in other things. But they don't do that. So that's why they're mostly in debt.
I thought that there is much of a financial literacy out there in US in comparison to India because we also feel the same that most of the people are not aware about how to go about their financial games and how to get into the stock exchange for that example. So in contrast, I mean, it sounds weird that even US is facing that problem of financial literacy. I think the
Yeah, I
roots
mean,
of yeah, I mean the roots of saving, like you just said that I've been frugal, right? So has that something to do with your culture back there in Pakistan, because of which you are like this, that you save a lot and you then invest with that strategy? Because I don't really hear people from US who are natively from there and talking about saving or something like that.
yeah, I think it's more of an individual thing because, I mean, obviously my brother is obviously everybody is from Pakistan, and he is a very big spender. So he would spend all the money. It really depends
Okay.
on your interest, what
Okay.
interests you. So if these fancy clothes and fancy phone and fancy things interest you, then I mean you can buy them, but make sure that you
Hmm.
have money to buy it. Don't go in debt to buy it. And none of these things kind of interest me. Buying like expensive cars or expensive clothes. I mean, so all of those things mean really nothing to me. The one thing that does interest me is just going to a different city or a country and just exploring over there, exploring their culture, meeting new people, and just going in nature. In other words,
Okay.
experiences are more important to me than more of like a materialistic things.
Have you been a frequent traveler though?
I do travel, but I haven't really been that much outside of US. I have been to outside US, but I've never been to Europe, but I've been to like
Okay.
places like Mexico and Costa Rica and Puerto Rico, but mostly in US, I think. Mhm.
Okay. So once the world is open for traveling back again, what are your plans with that?
Well, we didn't really wait for the world to open. We already traveled a couple of different places,
Right.
starting even last year. I think we went to Colorado. There's a place
Hmm.
called Copper Mountain Resort, so we went
Okay.
over there.
Okay.
And then I think in December or January, we went to Gulf Shore, Alabama, which is a beautiful Florida beach basically over there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then again, I think in April, we went to Denver Estes Park, which we have been there a couple of times. And
Hmm.
I'm going there again later this year with my mom to take her to a vacation. And she hasn't been on a
Okay.
vacation for 20 plus years. So
Oh,
that will be her first vacation. Yeah.
nice. Nice. Nice to know that. How do you go about networking? Like we see you tweeting frequently on Twitter, right? And we also see some other people who are in the iOS community replying to each other's tweet. Even you reply to some other people's tweet as well. So, what do you think about this community? How is it growing, and where will it take forward? I mean, I just
Mhm.
messed up with the sentence that I said. But what do you think are the plans or the direction in which the community growth is going on? What do you think? What could happen with this kind of good community that we have now?
I think, yeah, iOS community is very strong community. And the reason it is strong is we have just so many passionate people who are working towards creating content, creating videos, speaking engagements, and distributing free stuff or helping each other out. And a lot of new people are now jumping into iOS and they're finding very relaxed. Like I think there's 100 days of Swift UI and Swift going on, and a lot of people just slowly building up their skills. And then when they're in like halfway mark 50 or 60, day 50, they feel comfortable. If they're stuck, they will get the answer from the community. So I think it's getting diverse. It is getting more stronger. And I think pandemic, I know that pandemic has done a lot of bad things, but
Right.
it has also done a little bit of good things as giving opportunity to more diverse group of people to be able to speak at different conferences, which they were never even, considered for, which is actually great because now everything is remote and they don't need to like fly someone in, so they can ask anyone to who may or may not be unknown to speak at a conference. So I think it has opened a lot of doors for a lot of people to be part of the community and to basically give back to the community.
Do you see a lot of collaboration or do you see a lot of competition at the same time?
I see it more of as a individual people just pushing out stuff. So I don't really see competition and I don't see collaboration. I mean, collaboration there might be going on, but it's from a
Like
content.
this is a kind of collaboration, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say it's more of community just pushing out more content. And yes, everyone has their own videos. They're pushing out new articles and new books. But in the end, it is for benefit for everyone. So if I buy someone's book and I don't like it, well, there are like two other books I can go and check it out.
Right.
And I'm sure
Right.
that I'm going to like those books. And the same thing goes for videos. If I or someone checks out videos and they don't like someone's video, they can go always check out some other videos also. So it's collaboration or it's contribution in a good sense.
Right. I feel the same, and I'm more inclined towards collaboration. I don't even think about having any competition because there is no such competition. Even if you look at the Twitter feed and if you follow some people in iOS, they're all like good to each other. They're all helping each other out and whatnot. Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and you are also very true about having the remote opportunities today. Like sharing my experience in that regard, I applied for a teaching job there in US for a summer camp last month. So I got interviewed for that just because it was a remote opportunity for a 2 month. Basically, it was the summer camp was, and it was basically for some kids in Chicago. So you get opportunity to teach someone in US right away from the convenience of sitting in here in India at your home. So this is something that is really amazing, and I was amazed by the things that are going on right now just because of this COVID thing that is happening. But yeah, as you said, there are so many other things as well which are not that good about it, obviously.
Mhm.
So yeah. Moving back to the answer that you gave me about stock exchange, how did you get into this? What is your personal strategy with buying stocks and whatnot, right? So this is my question personally. How do you go about choosing that you should go for a particular mutual fund, or
Mhm.
maybe going with directly getting into the stock exchange and buy a particular stock? And what about the uh, ROI of fixed deposits that are there in US? I have heard that there are so less interest rates that people
Mhm.
don't really go for fixed deposits, right? So
Mhm. So for fixed deposit, I think maybe it's called CD over here in
okay,
US, if we're
okay,
talking about the same thing. And CDs, yes, CDs, they don't really pay off that much anyways for the interest that they pay. Individual stocks, when you pick individual stocks, and the stocks that I have are all in the companies that I know, which
mm-hmm,
includes Apple and Facebook and Microsoft and Tesla. So
mm-hmm,
all of these stocks, I know the companies because I am in technology sector. So I
right,
know I'm not going to invest in some random company that some person is saying, oh yeah, this stock is going to go to like 5,000 in tomorrow. I don't know that company. I don't know what they do.
mm-hmm,
Sometimes it's if you want to invest in individual stock, um, sometimes it is very helpful, or actually most of the time it's very helpful. If you don't know about the company, then you can go to Yahoo or other website and
mm-hmm,
read their income or balance sheet,
mm-hmm,
read all of that stuff, and you can see what is their ratio of the revenue versus their deduction. Well, not deduction, but their debt. So you
do
can
you
read all of that stuff.
do you really get into all of these technicalities while
Yes, if
okay,
I'm investing in a company that I don't know anything about, then
okay,
absolutely. So if I'm investing in Apple, then
mm-hmm,
yeah, I'll take a sneak peek at their revenue.
mm-hmm,
But we know Apple has a lot of money. So even if they don't really pay their employees a cent, I mean,
mm-hmm,
even if then they can even go for 18 or 20 years.
right,
So, and Facebook and so on. But if you're investing in some company, you have to make sure that they have enough money in the bank account. They have, they don't owe debt to
mm-hmm,
long-term debt, short-term debt to other companies, and all of those different things. But I usually stay around the area of technology because that's what I know. Now, individual stocks, what I've seen mostly is people, and these are the people who get famous, I guess, but they buy stocks and they sell stock. They buy stock, they sell stock, which is
right,
called day traders. I don't do that stuff ever. If
mm-hmm,
you invest in a company, then hopefully you think that that company is great. And why do
mm-hmm,
you want to just switch like these
right,
kind of things?
right,
So when I invest in a company, I am in for the long goal or long term, long game. And
mm-hmm,
I just keep investing in that for a longer period of time. So I have no plans of selling anything for next 10 or 15 years. I'm just gonna kind of like a sit on it and just wait.
mm-hmm.
If you talk about in mutual funds, stocks are very they can go up and down very fast.
Right.
So if you want to sleep good at night and want to know that your money is safe, then try mutual funds. And there are obviously a lot of different kind of mutual funds you can invest in. You can divide your funds into 4 different sections. You can
Okay.
see you can do big companies, medium-sized companies, and
Small
then
cap.
small cap, which are more up and down, and
Right.
also the international companies.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can simply, if you just want to do very boring kind of an investment, which is good,
Mm-hmm.
then you can just invest in growth index funds,
Okay.
and that's it. I mean, the reason that people don't really go with growth index fund is just it's boring. It's no fun. There's no thrill.
Okay.
And growth index fund or index funds in general have shown for last, I don't know, whatever years,
Mm-hmm.
since the beginning of the stock exchange, that they can beat anyone in the long term.
If you
So
play for at least 10 years, maybe.
if you play for more years, I think it's like maybe 20 years, then
Okay.
uh, yeah, some people, if you invest for, longer term, like if you're investing from starting from age 24 or 25, and
Mm-hmm.
then you retire at 64 or 60,
Mm-hmm.
then you will have maybe like $1 million+ in the retirement account. And also when you're investing in index funds, your expense ratio is so low
Mm-hmm.
as compared to other funds. So your funds are not decreasing because of your expense ratio every single year.
Right.
But most people don't do it because it's just not exciting. It's just boring. But
Mm-hmm.
in investing, I think you have to be boring. So,
Right.
yeah.
And talking about the day trading, I think for some people it is like a profession, right? So many people do it out of profession. Some people do it out of thrill. So most of the people who do it out of thrill, it goes kind of bad experience for them most of the time, I think.
Yes, I think around maybe 70 or 80 or maybe even more percentage of day trader, they lose money instead of
Right.
gaining money.
How about
But yeah, I
crypto?
mean, I don't know that much about crypto.
Hmm.
So yeah, I can't really talk about crypto because I don't have that much information. But I don't really, I have invested in crypto, but I don't
Which
really
coin?
plan to. I have invested in, Bitcoin and Ethereum and all those things. But
Did you go for
since I
Dogecoin when it was like on fire?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't go on things that are on fire. Like I think
Hmm.
there was what was it, Blockbuster? I think it
Yeah.
was on fire also a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Those are called kind of like you just being gambling, basically. In other words,
Right. Right.
so I like to play kind of like the long game and the safe game. So maybe in the next 10, 15, 20 years, or whenever I retire,
Hmm.
basically, then I hopefully those accounts which I'm investing, they will have enough that I can just live off.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So do you think you are making enough for that? Like you said that you want a early retirement, right? So do
Hmm.
you think you are matching the goals that you have?
So I calculated it. The only problem that comes is, and the big problem that actually comes is when if I want to retire at 50,
Mm-hmm.
so 10 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
the problem is that I can't really touch that money because that's in a retirement account. So I have to wait 10 more
Okay.
years. So you
Okay.
need some sort of a bridge or money to bridge those 10 years.
Okay.
So for that, I am putting something in another mutual fund, which is an index fund, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it will have enough to last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but depending on what is going on and how the Udemy courses are doing in 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it can be that I'm just making courses on Udemy or some other platform
Mm-hmm.
and just living off of that. Yeah.
What is financial freedom for you?
I think for me, financial freedom is not really about sitting on a lake and fishing all day. But for financial freedom, basically means I don't owe anyone anything, and if I want something, I'm just going to go and buy it
Okay.
without putting it on a credit card. I'm also against credit cards. I
Mm-hmm.
don't use credit card unless it's absolutely required,
Mm-hmm.
because that is also a form of debt that you have. So it's always cash or debit card for me.
You are really good at the finance game, I would say, because if you talk about college loans, if you talk about credit cards, if you talk about investing, you're already there.
I like. I mean, I don't. I mean, I haven't really read anything, or I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't go to school. In other words, for
Mm-hmm.
investing, it's
Mm-hmm.
just I like the idea of investing and then just snowballing it to, to a higher number if you just keep on investing.
Right.
And in America or in the US, I mean, you have many, like you can invest in traditional IRA, Roth IRA, and all those kind of things that comes up
Mm-hmm.
that are exciting. But I mean, if I have one advice for a young person, let's
Mm-hmm.
say 24 or 23,
Mm-hmm.
just if you invest, if you look at the formula, and if you invest
Mm-hmm.
$100 a month,
Mm-hmm.
that $100 that you spend on coffee and on your pizza, if you
Right.
invest $100 a month in a growth index fund which is returning you 10 to 12%,
Mm-hmm.
and if you take it out when you're 65, you will be a millionaire. Just $100 a month.
Why people always give these kind of examples?
Because it's true.
Right.
Because it's
I hear it a lot in here in India as well. Like people
mhm.
talking about the pocket money that we get, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you could invest your pocket money. Sorry, you could invest
Mhm.
your pocket money right from your college, and you will end up getting a certain amount after these many years, right? So
Yes,
these examples have been there around, like here in India or some other countries as well, which motivates someone to get into investing, right?
absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I mean, the idea of retirement is not like just old. I think the idea of retirement is that you have enough that you can do whatever you want. You can live comfortably. In other
Right.
words, you can replace the word retirement with rich or being having a lot of money to do whatever you
Right.
want.
Right.
So yeah, you do have to prepare for your retirement, and the biggest thing that you have is time.
Mm-hmm.
So time is the number one commodity. If you invest early on,
Mm-hmm.
then when you retire, yeah, you will have, hopefully, if you invested in the correct things, then
Mm-hmm.
you will have a retirement, you know, retirement plan and retirement revenue.
Okay. So last time I was having this conversation with Stewart. So I hope you know about him, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so I asked him about the future of technology. What does he think about it? So he said the future of technology would be AR. And for somebody like him, if he would be of my age maybe, so he would be interested in learning that, because according to him that is the future. So what is the future according to you in the technology?
I think augmented reality AR is definitely exciting,
Mm-hmm.
and it is going to open a lot of doors for a lot of people. It is going to change how we perceive things because now everything will be augmented.
Mm-hmm.
There will be some other things that I would like to see from a technology point of view. AI might become more and more advanced, and even combining the AI with AR that
Mm-hmm.
can produce some really amazing results that you're just walking, or you look at a sign and now the sign is converted to a different language, and
Mm-hmm.
all those kind of things can happen. It is going to obviously take some time because we're talking about the future, but I
Mm-hmm.
think hopefully we will definitely get there. And from a developer's perspective, what I would definitely like to see is the whole Xcode, because we are iOS developers,
Right.
move on the cloud. But it has to be fast. Obviously, it will depend a lot on your internet connection and how
Right.
fast or slow you are. But what if we can just contribute, or not contribute, but collaborate
Mm-hmm.
without downloading 10 gigabytes of Xcode, but it is all online. You can build online using Xcode Cloud and everything, and everything works perfectly fine. I think that might be a far far future.
That really sounds interesting. Like sometimes it becomes a problem for me to even download the latest version just because of the capacity that I have in my Mac, which is not that new. So it would be great if we could have it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. So, sir, this conventional question about how to start off with becoming an iOS engineer, or maybe starting off with getting into the technology, what would you recommend? Your three main tips.
Getting into a technology, well, first of all, you have to find which technology. So let's say iOS development, if you get into that,
Okay.
you have to at least start with learning like the basics,
Mm-hmm.
like the language itself.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of books out there that can teach you Swift language.
Mm-hmm.
Once you are comfortable with the language, then you can jump on to learning a platform or a framework, in other words.
Mm-hmm.
It can be maps, it can be audio, video, or whatever you want to learn.
Right.
Um, and the third thing, which is, I think, the most important, is it will benefit you if you are learning it through the use of a pet project or a side project.
Mm-hmm.
And that project has to be something that you're passionate about. So let's say if you're
Okay.
passionate about exercise or bodybuilding or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe you should create an app on bodybuilding that you can use every day at the gym.
Hmm.
And that will give you motivation to, oh, I learned something new today about augmented reality. So maybe I can do it in my app.
Right.
And that's what I also teach my students, that you should also always have a pet project on the side that you're working on.
Right.
And as soon as you learn something new in the boot camp, go ahead and implement that if you think it will fit over there in your side project.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the most successful students. And curiosity, you
Right.
have to be very curious. And I see a lot of, at least always, I find a lot of students, they're
Mm-hmm.
not curious. Oh, what
Mm-hmm.
if I do it? Oh, is the computer going to like burn to ashes? No, nothing's going to happen. This is not an open heart surgery. You can do whatever
Right.
you want. I
Right.
mean, nobody is going to, nobody's going to die or anything. Just
Right.
make the change, run the code, see what happens. And you have to be very curious.
Right.
And
I think that is the main ingredient of all of this complete
yeah,
strategy that you are telling, right?
absolutely. You have to be very, very curious, and you have to do it every single day for a longer period of
Mm-hmm.
time, like meaning months and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a long game that you have to play. Even if you're doing development 45 minutes a day,
Mm-hmm.
try to do it every single day over the course of a longer period of time. And then you will be more successful.
Mm-hmm. It's more of like investing.
It's exactly like investing. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. One of the things that I see as a problem, or maybe I may be wrong, but I see that a lot of people face problem with excelling in their particular skill. Like somebody, if he or she is a iOS engineer, for example,
Mhm.
and they're coming to my organization, maybe. Okay, so this is as a kind of real example. I may not put it live, so
Mhm.
still let's go. So I see that people come out of 3 years, 5 years of experience, and then they still do things which a 1 or 2 year old developer can do, and they are not
Mhm.
that much good in terms of what their actual experience is. So what do you think, how they can improve, or I mean, why they do not improve, I don't know about that. But what can we say about how can they really improve and make it worthwhile? That yes, they are 5 years of experience, they are holding 5 years of experience, and they do have skills to justify that.
Hmm. I think sometime, I mean, if you want to be a good writer, you write. If you want to
Hmm.
be, if you want to be a marathon runner, then you run. Um, and if you want to be a developer or a good developer, you learn from others that are more experienced. So if you want to be a good developer, you have to look at good code, good practices, good, all of those good patterns that are available. And another thing that is kind of going away in pretty much our community and pretty much all the other communities is nobody read books. I
Right.
mean,
True.
reading books is kind of getting obsolete.
Hmm.
And I think books are, I mean, you can find books for, 10, 20, $30 or whatever. And they are just filled with so much information that if you just
Right.
read and practice and practice and practice, you can get way better. So I think what is lacking is looking at good code from your seniors or from more experienced developers, and obviously reading blogs and reading books, because that is the number one thing. The reading and the knowledge is more valuable than anything now.
Right. And that's how you can take your skill set one step ahead, right?
Yes, yeah. So if you read a book on, let's say, Swift language, you will always find a lot of things that you didn't know. Oh, I can do this, or I didn't know that. So I will learn something
Right.
new every single day. Yeah.
Right. And how about coming up with your own book? Are you in? Do you have any plans for that?
If was interested in writing, then I would definitely have written many books. I don't really have any future plans for the books. I have an idea for the book, but it's about bootcamp itself, not
Okay.
really about iOS development. But yeah, just writing is just a big job, and it's with all the projects that I'm juggling right now. Uh, it's not really on the horizon right now.
Okay. And recently you moved all your Udemy, no, not Udemy, I think Medium articles to your main website, right? So,
Yes, not all the articles, but yes. So all the latest articles that I'm publishing, which I don't really publish that much, maybe once every 2 weeks or something. But yeah, all the latest articles are being published on my own website, which is azamsharp.com.
okay, good to know. So, sir, I think we would end this conversation on this note. So, would you like to tell something to the people or the listeners to this podcast about how they can go about things in life and how they can excel in things in general?
I think the secret to excel in life or anything is to form strong habits and do it over a longer course, longer term. There's a really good book called Atomic Habits, and that talks about that how you can form habits and how you can keep those habits. I mean, if you want to be fit, you can go and walk 3 miles a day. But if you're just going to walk 1 or 2 times, it's not going to do much. But if
Right.
you do it for a very long period of time, then you will be a fit person. So you have to do whatever you're doing, you have to do every single day, and you have to repeat and repeat and repeat. And you have to form a habit of just doing things.
Right. Again, I can relate it to the investing.
Yep.
Nice. Really interesting. It was great having you on the show, sir. I really got some, amazing insights from you regarding so many things. So thank you so much for that. And once again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Mayank. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I hope that we can record more podcasts in the coming future, since I believe that we have many other things as well to talk about. So till then, bye-bye, sir.
Thank you. Bye.